Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about building a 5/7 chord. A 5/7 chord is just a 5 chord with a 7th on top, and really it is a much stronger dominant, and we'll talk about why that is in a minute. So let's try looking at this first chord. We have a G, a B, a D, and a G, so a 5 chord in C major. Now if instead of having this G on top, I had the F, so we had G, B, D, F, I would have what's called a dominant 7th chord. So this is a chord built on the dominant that also has a 7th between the root and that top note. So the reason why this is so powerful as a dominant is that it's now got that built-in tritones. You remember when we were talking about diminished chords and how they had 2 tendency tones, and that was very exciting. Well, this has 2 tendency tones as well. And it's the same two. It's that B in C major to the F. So that has a really strong pull. That tritone has a really strong pull back to C major, much stronger than just the leading tone alone, which is what we have when we have just a 5 chord. So we're going to talk about how to resolve these chords in another video. All you need to know is that to build a 5 chord, a 5/7 chord, you just keep stacking another third on top. So we've got a third here, the major third, and then the minor third, and then we have another minor third to get us to the 7th. Okay, so when we're writing that in Roman numerals, we'll just call that a 5, and we'll add the little superscript 7 up there. Now just like we know that there are first inversions with triads, so we have a 5/6, say, and second inversion with 5/6/4, there are inversions of these 5/7 chords as well. First one is 5/6/5. If you remember, the numbers are just telling us the intervals above the bass, and 6/5 is signaling to us that it's going to be a 5 chord in first inversion. So think about that. The first inversion just means that there's the third on the bottom of the chord. So let's put that in. And then we just fill in the rest of the notes. Luckily we don't have to worry about doubling in this case because we have 4 notes in the chord now instead of 3, so every voice can have its own unique pitch. So let's put let's have everybody else up here. D in the tenor, the F in the alto, and the G in the soprano. So as long as the bass pitch is correct for the inversion, it doesn't matter what order the other pitches come in. It should be dictated by good voice leading. Okay, the second inversion, so we had 6/4 before, now we have 4/3. 4/3 means it's going to be a 5/7 chord in second inversion. And be really careful because 4/3 chords have the same limitations that 6/4 chords do. We don't want to use them just anywhere. We have to use them in very specific places with the passing, the neighboring, the arpeggiated. So this means that we have the 5th in the bass, and then I'm just gonna fill in the rest of the notes. Oops. So there's our perfect 4th. Here's our tritone, and so that's 5/4/3 is a pretty unstable chord. And then we actually have another inversion. We have third inversion with the 5/7 chords because there are 4 notes, and that just means the 7th of the chord is on the bass. So we go back to this one. It's root, 3rd, 5th, and 7th. It means that we put that 7th, and then I'm just gonna keep those notes. So let's listen to these chords. You'll notice that while it's the same chord, it has slightly different qualities depending on what inversion it's in, and you can choose inversions, with the exception of 4/3, which you should be careful with, to give that 5 chord different colors. So these two are a little bit more unstable than these first 2. If it's helpful, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. A good way to think about the numbers is that it goes 7, 6/5, 4/3, and then 4/2. 4-2 not so helpful, but 7-6-5-4-3 and then a 2 maybe can help you remember those inversion numbers for the 5 chord. Okay, so to finish this video up, let's try writing some dominant 7th chords from figured bass. So we're being given the bass line, we've been given the figures, and we're going to work it out. So we're in B minor here, and this first one is asking us for a 7, and then this sharp off by itself, which just to remind you means sharp 3. So the 7 is just telling us that it's pretty much going to be in root position, that there's a 7th above the bass, and you can just fill in the notes. So we know that 3rd has to be sharp, and then we've got the C sharp and the E, and so that's just our 5-7 chord in B minor. So have a go with these last 3 and see what you can come up with, and then we'll quickly go over them together. Okay, so hopefully you remember that the 6-5 means that it's a first inversion 5-7 chord, and so we know basically what the notes are from already doing this exercise. So we have F, A sharp, C sharp, and E. So we have the A sharp. We know that the 6th above that is the F sharp. I'm going to put it up in here, and the E there, and then we'll add the C sharp in the tenor. Okay, this next one says 6 sharp, so we know that the 6th above the bass, that pitch will be sharp no matter where it is. The 4th above the bass, and the 3. So you'll notice this is a little bit different than the just regular 4-3 that we saw above. So 4-3 is another sort of shorthand. So you remember when we were talking about first inversions for the first time, we said that 6-3 was another way to write that. Well, 6-4-3 is another way to write this second inversion 5-7 chord. We don't usually use the 6th because it's assumed, so we usually just see 4-3 there. So I'm just going to put the sharp 6 above in the tenor, and then I guess I'll keep the alto and the soprano the same. We could do this for a little bit more of an open spacing. And then the last one, 4 sharp and 2. So the 4th above the bass is going to be sharp. And we know that this is always going to be the case because that 3rd is the leading tone. We're in minor. We want the leading tone to be raised so it feels like it's pushing us back to the tonic. So let's add that, and then F sharp and C sharp. So that's pretty much all there is to constructing 5-7 chords. In the next video we're going to look at how to resolve them.